Hi guys, welcome to the garden. If you're like me and absolutely obsessed with growing fruit, we've got 20 different varieties within this small plot. Then you're going to want to take advantage of as many spots as possible. So we have a west facing garden here, which means the majority of our fruit is either located at the back here against the wall of the house. Extra bonus because later on in the day, the house will start to kick out some heat and help ripen the fruits, or along this little patch here. So here, the orientation is such that it's south facing, which means it gets 6 to 8 hours of sunlight. So this is where the bulk of our sun-loving fruits are located. However, just like any garden, there will be parts of the garden that are in shade, or at least partial shade. So if you come over here, we actually have this thin strip of plants here that barely sees any sun. 6 months out of the year, it's actually completely in shade. But from a late spring onwards, it gets anywhere from about 2 to 3 hours of sunlight in the peak of summer. So initially we planted a load of shade-loving plants, but after some further research, we did actually find there are some fruits that may be able to tolerate this kind of shade. And so in this little spot behind me here, we did eventually fill it. Fortunately, when I left my previous school as a science teacher, I was kindly gifted a set of seeds from some ex-students. So they may or may not have been influenced by this choice of present, because I think I might have mentioned a few times that I have a bit of a fruit obsession. And so with this gift, they bought me a variety of strawberry I'd never grown before. It's actually a type of alpine strawberry. It's called Baron von Solmacher. It's a German heirloom variety. And after I did a little bit of background research behind it, I found out that it was actually a woodland strawberry. So woodland strawberries, they typically are a ground cover, and because they are underneath a forest canopy, they are adapted to living in shady conditions, or at least partial shade conditions. So I thought they'd be a perfect potential plant for this little section in front of a quite dear plant to me, this Rachel Rose, in memory of my late mother. So I got to growing these seeds. It took a few weeks for them to establish, but they did. And when they got growing, I planted them at the start of last year. Since then, we've had a very, very good growth, and you can see quite clearly now, we've got quite a few berries. In terms of their ability to grow, I would say just like with any fruit, they probably would do better in the sun, but I've had absolutely no problem in this little amount here. These berries are a lot smaller than their close relatives, the June-bearing strawberries. However, their flavour remains to be extremely competitive. I would even say a little bit sweeter. And as a result, I'm very happy that we've got these as an addition. So they do grow quite big, and we've only got 3 plants here, and they already have taken over quite a bit. We do have a little spot here where, funnily enough, I've actually shoved another shade-loving plant. This is actually a white currant, just cutting that's stuck into the ground, and one of them here died, but there's another one that's growing, so we'll see if that survives. If it doesn't, we will try and propagate one of these plants and make an additional plant to go right there. If you do want to grow more of these plants, I would not suggest trying to do cuttings or cloning them from runners, because they don't typically send them out like their close relatives. The best way to clone these is actually by a method of cloning called crown division. So if you actually look deep at the bottom here, you'll see there is multiple crowns. Each one of these little colourful bits here could actually be cut off, and as long as you get a bit of root, and you do this at the appropriate time of year, so either late autumn or early spring, I'll simply be able to dig a bit of this dirt away, transplant it in, and then we'll have a nice complete set of plants for this little shaded area. I hope that was useful in figuring out what fruit might be suitable for areas of shade in your garden. If you do know of any other fruits that are suitable for partial shade to little sun, please let us know in the comments, because I have a few little spots that I'm hoping to fill in the near future.